Whether you're designing or developing your own website or one for your clients, gathering feedback is vital. This could be feedback from a sample of end users or from the client themselves to help you improve your design and ensure that everyone's aligned on what's needed. One of the biggest causes for cancelled freelance work is misalignment with the brief or the client's expectations. Beyond this, your goal as a designer should be to strive to provide your client with the best experience they could possibly have with you, but also with their final product. So if it's not already, client feedback, or as I say, end user feedback to ensure that your product is as good as it can be, should already be built into your workflow. Today, I'm going to be showing you how you can collect and manage feedback seamlessly inside of Wix Studio. I'll be showing you two methods to collect this feedback and just how easy it is to then take that feedback and turn it into something actionable. If you're new to Wix Studio, it is a fantastic tool for website designers and developers. It's a great way to manage the full client experience and to build fully custom websites. It balances usability and functionality really well. So if you've got clients that want to have some degree of involvement but aren't necessarily the most technically minded, it's an awesome place to start. Beyond that, you can use it as a full CRM for yourself as a designer or developer, so you can bring your clients on board, you can manage invoicing and the entire client experience, including handover, in one platform. So today's focus is going to be on feedback, so let's hop into Wix Studio now. And without further ado, I'll show you the two main ways you can collect feedback. So here we are inside the Wix Studio dashboard, and you'll see here some of my previous sites from tutorials. This account is my tutorial account, so these are my previous projects. So let's get started with the first way to collect client feedback. On the left-hand side, we're going to come down to client experience, and you'll see here at the top, we've got client feedback. If we click this, we'll be taken to a page where we can request and view feedback from our clients. On the top right-hand side, you'll see this Get Feedback button. If we give this a click, we'll then be prompted to select the specific site we're referring to, click Continue, and from there, you'll then have the option to either send this directly to your client via email alongside a nice friendly message, or my favorite feature of this is a shareable link. So we can copy this link and instantly send this to our client to gather feedback. So I'll just show you how this page looks. Okay, so if you were to share that link with your clients, this is where they'll arrive. You can see here they're given a nice kind of easy tutorial to kind of understand how they could go about doing this themselves. But it really is as simple as clicking Add Comments. We can then drag that comment to a specific part of the site, let's say the Inquire button, and then we can leave name, email, and a comment, and then we can click Post, and that comment is logged on that specific part of the page. So they can go through, and as you can see, as I scroll down, that comment remains in place. Now that is a really valuable feature because when we then hop back into the edit mode and start editing the site, we can see specifically where on the site the client's feedback relates to. So let's say the client has said, remove this section altogether. We'll know exactly what they're talking about. We've all worked with situations before where a client has said something like, remove this button or remove this section. And for whatever reason, we've got no idea what specific section they're referring to. And there's no kind of visual way for them to show us something. So this feedback tool is frankly awesome. It's very simple, which just makes it so much easier for both parties. Your clients will have no problem using this, but also at the same time, when you come back into the editor to pick up the projects, you're going to find it really easy to kind of navigate through that feedback and turn that into actionable changes that you can then select and say, completed and dismiss when you finish with them. Now, this is great for client work. If you're working with a client on a particular project, then this gives them a really easy way to leave comments on the site to make sure that what you're building aligns with their expectations. But as I said before, another great use case for feedback is to perhaps test your websites or your own designs with a small kind of audience of your own. So if I was building a website for myself where I was going to sell a web design course, for example, it might be valuable to me to have a small subset of users that I would send that link to thread some feedback through and know that actually, what I thought was great didn't necessarily reflect the interests of my audience, or maybe it wasn't as clear as it felt like it was when I was the one who designed it. We can often get carried away as designers in thinking that our ideas make total sense, but it's only when it's kind of actually in front of our end users that we start to see, this flow didn't necessarily make the most sense. So this feedback tool by Wix Studio is not just great for managing your client's feedback, but also for having a little bit of interaction with your end users for your own projects. So really impressive tool. And I'll just hop back now into the editor to show you that once you're here, you will see we've got a notification here to say Sam left you feedback on your site. If we click View Comments, we can then reply or resolve the comment once we've made those changes inside the editor. So it's really seamless. It doesn't interfere with the editor itself. So you can refer to what you need to do. You can reply if there's anything you're not sure of, make those changes in the editor, and then once you're done, click Resolve and it will disappear. So you can basically turn client feedback into a checklist in one place, which is awesome. So we are now back in the dashboard so that I can show you the second way to get feedback from your clients. Now, it does work in practically the same way. They can, with this second method, use something similar to what I've done before, where I've just shown you they get their own page, they can explore the site and thread through their feedback. But there's also a second method with this where they can hop into the editor themselves if you allow them to. So if we hover over one of our projects and come to the Site Actions menu, you'll see here that we can invite collaborators. If we click this, this is how we would not only share a project with a client when we're perhaps transferring over to them or finished, but also a way that we can bring them on board as a collaborator. So what we can do is we can enter the emails for up to 10 collaborators at a time. And depending on your plan, you can see here it says 5 collaborator seats left. There will be the option to upgrade if you have a need for more than 5. And what we can do is we can assign specific roles. So for example, the content writer can make changes to text, links, and media sources. But if we scroll down a little bit further, we've got a website viewer and website commenter. Now, if we select website commenter, this will allow someone to go in, thread comments through the site, but not make any changes. So where we've got content writers who have more flexibility to actually make those changes themselves, which if you're comfortable with your client doing, by all means, assign this role. But if you want to stay in the driving seat and don't want to allow your client to, perhaps make changes that they weren't aware they were making, it can happen with websites, then website commenter is a great way to essentially invite them to the project. They'll feel as if they're a sort of co-collaborator with you, which is really great for kind of putting some power into their hands, bringing them into the project, but also avoiding any kind of issues where they could make changes to the site they didn't wish to. So from here, we could then send the invite and our client will have a fairly similar experience to before, where they can go through, they can make tags, and they can thread comments through that again will work in that same way, where it's effectively like a resolvable checklist. And you as a designer or developer can go through this and make actionable changes to the site that fit with your client's expectations. Now, this definitely fits more with the client relationship than, say, the end user. So, for example, if I was managing a website for myself and I just wanted to gather some user feedback, this probably wouldn't be the best way to do it because it somewhat brings them on as a collaborator. But if you're working kind of one-on-one with a client or perhaps a team or a group of people and you want to get some feedback from them, then this is a great way to do that. And exactly the same as before, they'll manage to thread the comments to specific elements, so you'll have no doubt what they're referring to when they leave their feedback, which is awesome. So those are my 2 favorite ways to gather feedback in Wix Studio. Now, you also can take feedback however you want to. A lot of people use tools like Notion, or, a lot of people still rely on things like Google Docs for a more simple route where screenshots and text can work brilliantly. But it needs to be said that this is an awesome feature. You get specific feedback that works just like a checklist. You can resolve items as you go through and ensure that everything gets done. You know exactly what specific area of the site they're referring to. And as I said before, when you bring someone on board almost as a collaborator, it really puts the power in their hands and makes them feel more involved in the project, which in terms of a client relationship is just another way that Wix Studio really strengthens that. So again, first and foremost, make sure that your workflow, whatever you're building, whether it's your own site or a client project, has feedback built into it. It's really important that you gather feedback and make changes to ensure that you're not just running with what you think's best, but what you've actually tested and understood to work the best. And I hope that you can see how Wix Studio makes that really easy for all parties involved. It's really simple for the end user or the client to click through to that link and start leaving feedback, but also as you, a developer or designer like me, to go in there and make those changes. It is seamless and really easy to use. If you have any trouble using this feature or have any questions in general, then please do drop a comment below. As always, if you're interested in growing your brand online, building websites or design generally, then please do subscribe to the channel. We have hit the 100,000 mark, so I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed so far. But yeah, please do give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next video.